Hi, I'm Erin Biehl, and I work at the Johns Hopkins Center for a Livable Future in Baltimore, USA. My colleagues and I do a variety of research, policy, and communications work on how food systems impact public health and the environment. So when I think about doing more with less as a climate solution, I think about food, because our global food production, transport, consumption, and waste contributes about 30% of greenhouse gases, and around half of that is due to animal food production. While at the same time, we're wasting about a third of the food that's already being produced. And when we waste food, we also waste the greenhouse gases emitted during the production and transport of those foods. To solve these problems, we need a variety of food system solutions, including finding ways to produce and distribute food more efficiently. But that is only part of the solution. There's also huge potential for reducing greenhouse gases through consumer demand, although it's still undervalued and underrepresented in climate policy discussions. My work focuses on two solutions in particular: eating less emissions-intensive meat and dairy, and reducing food waste. Eating less animals, like beef and dairy, and more fruits, vegetables, and pulses is especially powerful for consumers in countries like the US, where the average person eats 3 times as much meat as the global average. And this is also much higher than our dietary guidelines recommend for living a healthy lifestyle. And although eating less of something sounds daunting, there are behavioral campaigns like Meatless Monday that can help consumers try new, tasty, plant-rich foods and learn more about how eating differently can help solve climate change as well as contribute to better health. The second thing that consumers can do is to waste less food through preventing food waste to begin with, as well as redirecting surplus food to people who need it. In high-income countries like the US, most of this waste is done by consumers and retailers. Simple actions like making a grocery list before going to the store can help to reduce this waste and the emissions related to it. Finally, although there are many actions we can take as consumers to do more for climate with less, these solutions aren't just the responsibility of the consumer. We all need the support of policymakers, businesses, NGOs, and others who have the power to reshape the environment in which we buy, eat, and waste food. Policies like sustainable purchasing guidelines in hospitals can enable consumers to make more climate-friendly food choices. We also still need more awareness of these solutions among policymakers. For example, I'm leading a new group called the Food and Climate Alliance. And this alliance is a network of organizations who are raising awareness in climate policy forums of the need to shift to more plant-rich diets. So these are just a few examples of how we can do more for climate by changing the food we eat and more efficiently using the food that we already have. My colleagues at the Center for a Livable Future and I are researching what types of interventions and policies can support these actions. But at the end of the day, to avoid the worst climate change scenarios, we need a range of different solutions focused not only on how we produce food, but also on what we consume.